everywhere. Mm, 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 all the lives. This is how it works. So thank you for those of you that sent in questions ahead of time. I really appreciate that. It helps me kind of think through and gauge where you are all at. Oh, there we go. Facebook Live is up. Hello, Facebook, everyone that's catching us on Facebook. I'm going to just jump right into our COVID wedding conversation here. I was just saying to all of the lovely Instagram people that I got a few questions in ahead of time, which I really love. I love getting a few questions ahead of time so that I can kind of gauge where you're all at, kind of chat about that a little bit to myself. And think through how I can best support or help or kind of chat through those ideas or those problems sometimes. So I'm just going to start with that. Like I mentioned, if you have questions, go ahead and type them. This might be a weird thing for you to like type to someone that's live. Like, it's great. I love it. So don't feel intimidated or that it puts you like you owe me anything for asking me a question. That's why I do these, just to help. So, hi. All right. So Pamela asked, I'm wondering what the best etiquette is when it comes to sending invitations during this time, where the gathering size limits can change at any moment. What are your thoughts on holding off on invitations and gradually inviting more people as the date approaches and more is known versus inviting everyone at once and possibly having to uninvite people? Thank you. That is a tricky one. That is a really tricky one. My biggest suggestion and what I've told my clients is two things. If you've got a lot of out of town guests and they're really, really important to you, invite them now. Tell them about the wedding now, but phrase your invitations in such a way that reflects we want all of you to celebrate with us. We hope you can all make it. Please stay tuned for further wedding details due to COVID. You might see some changes, etc., etc. Because a lot of things are going out electronically now. If you have a wedding website, it's a really great place to put that, or send your invitations via paperless post, or use like a Knot or Minted website or something like that, which can be super, super helpful. I feel like now is the time to really lean on technology more, especially with RSVPs and I love paper products. I hate to say not to use them, but if you can collect everybody's email addresses, if things do change, it's so much simpler to change it. So I guess my first thought is send out your invitations to all of your most important people and maybe make a B list. I'm going to talk about B lists in a minute, but I guess my biggest piece of my biggest thought is to send out a 50-person invite. I know that sounds bad, but we have been around 50 and around 100 for outside options. So depending on the type of wedding you're having, I would probably suggest that you pick, if you're having an indoor wedding, invite 50. If you're having an outdoor wedding, invite 100. I'm really hopeful for next summer that we will be at a different place and that here in Manitoba, we will be able to have some of those same numbers we had this summer, next summer. So that would be really, really wonderful. And I think that that is what I would plan towards. If that's really uncomfortable for you, if you're like, I don't want to just invite 50, I don't want to just invite 100, you can invite your whole guest list. You can invite all of them, but know that uninviting kind of stinks. It doesn't feel very good. So that is a bit of a trickier part. Thank you for the hearts. I don't know if you guys know this, but you can like click on the video and it hearts me, which I think is super, super fun. Thanks, guys. So hopefully that answers that question. Pamela, I think I saw you on here, so feel free to ask a follow-up if you like. Uninviting does work if you have like a digital way of contacting them. So whether it's email address or something like that. Oh, okay, Pamela, awesome, you are on here. Yeah, so uninviting does work if you have a digital option. Digital is okay, but you need to confirm that they got it and that they know that they're now uninvited. I'd rather get an invitation saying like, because of COVID, we just couldn't invite everyone all at once. We're so excited that we can now invite you. People are getting it, especially for 2021. People really understand. They really get it. We're all in the thick of it. It sucks for everyone, whether it's wedding or not, or celebration or gathering or graduation. Everyone has been affected in some way or another. So they understand more than ever the whole concept of a B list and A list, a wait until we know what's happening kind of situation. So I think people will have more grace on you too. So Hopefully that helps. How to respectfully ask vendors to postpone for a second time. I don't know if this person is on here right now, but I'd love to know the situation if you're willing to share it. Postponing for a second time. I'm going to assume, let's just play out a scenario together. I'm going to assume that this person has postponed from 2020 to 2021 and now is considering postponing again to 2022. So let's just play out that scenario. So, first question, why are you postponing already into 2022? Why are you thinking that right now is a good time to postpone yet another year? So, my thoughts on that is it's too early. It's too early to decide to move your wedding yet another year out. You can if you want to, but my thoughts are why right now? Why in October right now? I know we went down to 5 people. I know that freaks a lot of us out. We went from, apologize if I get this wrong, we went from 50 people to 10 people and then to 5 really quickly. Hold on, I want to read your question real quick, Pamela, before it scrolls it up. My fiance wants to invite everyone for our August 2021 wedding, but I don't want to uninvite people later. I agree that wouldn't feel good. Yeah, it feels icky. As the guest, it does feel icky. So you can tell him my professional opinion is that it's icky. Yeah. Okay, back to what I was saying. So I know here in Manitoba, we jumped really, really fast. We jumped from that 50 person inside to 10 people all around to 5 people. And we have to remember a few things. We're getting into the cold. It's kind of cold season. Kids are going back to school. A lot of stuff is happening all at once. And there's been a lot of there's been maybe, in my opinion, there's been some looser regulations around bars and restaurants, and that has caused us some troubles, and we are here now. So I think that this can freak you out when it comes to your weddings. But I don't think that the right decision is to cancel or postpone yet into 2022. So I don't think that that's the right choice. So I'm just going to start with saying that. I think, and I have told all of my clients this, so if any of them are on here, they know this. We've had either conversations about it, phone calls, video calls, or email back and forth about it. I would suggest waiting. Wait until the new year. Talk to your vendors if you want to. That's also a really great choice. Send out an email. I'm a little unsure. I'm feeling a little stressed. What do you think? And ask them. How do you respectfully ask vendors to postpone again? You just kind of got to ask them. I'm really stressed. I'm thinking of postponing again. What does that look like in relation to your contract? I'm so sorry to have to even consider this. Just be direct about it. Ask them, have a chat with them about it, and have a conversation candidly. I think if you're respectful and kind about it, instead of being legalistic, that will go a really long way. But I truly do feel it's way too early to make that decision. It's really, really early. I think January, February, March is when time's going to tell, and we're really going to get a feel for that. And I will add to that our postponements happened in April and May. That's when all of our postponements started to happen. So us personally at Amanda Douglas Events, we postponed 26 weddings. 26 of our weddings that were supposed to happen in 2020 moved to 2021. So the idea of you postponing right now in October, it's just really early. The fact that we could postpone all of that to the next year in April and May, you have time. You just have time. I don't know how else to say it. You have time. And I also will add that we have had this with a lot of our clients. And so I know that this is in a lot of contracts. There are a lot of vendors that have postponement fees. There are a lot of vendors that have force majeure fee clauses. They also have holding date clauses. You can pick a new date within 12 months of the existing date. There are different clauses that you need to make sure that you read and really understand what that looks like to postpone again or to postpone for the first time. I will add to this is that If you are thinking of canceling altogether, whether it's you just, not just, you are having a 2021 date and that was your original date, or you were a 2020 couple and moved to 2021 and now you're thinking of canceling, most contracts, I have not really seen, I can't think of a contract I've seen that straight up gives you all your money back. I haven't seen one. I don't think that exists. Most contracts say deposits or initial payments are non-refundable. A lot of them say initial payments or payments are non-refundable and are for services rendered. So if you're considering canceling and your expectation is that you're going to get a ton of money back, you need to remember that you signed legally binding contracts with vendors that have held your date, promised a service. A lot of them have started working with you. A lot of them have done design work with you. So, like, think florists. Maybe your DJ or entertainment have started working on songs for you. Planners or coordinators have started on that work with you. Like, especially on our end, I'll talk because I'm a planner. I'll talk on that for a second. Like, we start planning with our clients right away. They get access to their client portal right away. They get a lot of resources, a lot of documents, checklists and guest list management stuff and budgets and all sorts of things right away. So it's not a deposit at that point. It's an initial payment for services we're doing. So these are things that you really need to be conscious of when kind of weighing out what you want to do. Again, nobody wants you to cancel. Nobody wants you to have to do that. It sucks. It's heartbreaking. Full disclosure, real talk, I had a bit of a cry today because two of my couples have decided to cancel their weddings now, and it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking to think that they're doing that because it sucks. They were hoping for really lovely celebrations, and they're not going to have them now. And I'm sad for them. I'm sad for me too. I'm sad for me too because I don't get to work with them anymore and I don't get to work on their days. But it sucks. I do feel that it's a little too early to cancel unless you have extenuating circumstances or something has come up. But for 2021, I think that it's time to just chill out for a little while and get some of the other planning done and then just wait for a bit and see how things shift and change and get better. Okay, enough about that. I could keep going, but if you have questions directly to anything I've said, type them away, type them anywhere. I'm on Instagram and on Facebook. You can heart and stuff as I'm chatting too if you're like, I like this. This is good. Yeah, that makes total sense. Okay. Another question. From an entertainment perspective, how do you think we should approach weddings? Okay, so this is from a vendor. And the current guidelines is 5 people, or regulations are 5 people. I don't know how you could possibly have a hired DJ entertainment or anything like that. Thanks for the thumbs up. I don't know how you could possibly do it unless they're a guest as well. So in that case, I guess it would be a friender. We call them frienders if they're friends and vendors. So I don't know that there's a proper way to approach this, a proper way to make that happen and facilitate that. So let's just look into 2021. I'm all about, like, let's talk through a scenario. If it's 2021 and there's 25 people and you want to have a guitarist or acoustic guitar, I think it's really wonderful to take one of those slots, those 25 slots. Let's say it's 25. Let's say it states for 25 guests or 25 people for the year. And I'll just add, let's pretend that of the 25, it includes your vendors. I would go ahead and take a spot and give it to an acoustic guitar. Give it to a musician, because the atmosphere that an acoustic player brings is just so dynamic. And 25 people doesn't create the same energy and atmosphere and ambiance and, like, I don't know, ooey feelings as like 150 people in a room, right? That feels bigger and grander. But if you put an acoustic player in a room, they fill the whole space. I will say a good one, I should add, but, like, hands down, spend that money, do it, make it happen. If you can have like 1 or 2, I would do it. It's a great place to put your money, and it's a great place to, like, funnel your money instead of, having to have food for 150 people. Add that acoustic player in there, and then your wedding has, like, a really beautiful element to it, a really beautiful dynamic that maybe you wouldn't have had otherwise. And also, that acoustic player has there's a little more focus on them, and it's also a really great conversation piece for the rest of the guests, because sometimes when it's that small, it can be harder to, like, well, you have to maintain conversations with this group of people. You're not necessarily moving on to like the next group of people or your other group of friends over here, or going to the bar or meeting new people or whatever. Thank you. Yeah, I'm glad that you agree. And music is super important. So my suggestion is, if we have to stay at really low numbers, that you hire an acoustic player. I have so many that I love and that I would recommend in that situation. I would like to talk a little bit more about how to make a small wedding special. I'm going to come back to that. I have one more question that came in before. Feel free to type away if you have questions. Yes, music bridges the gaps. That's such a great way of saying it. Thank you for writing that. You're right. Thoughts on splitting weddings, aka a 50-person ceremony, then a 50-person dinner. Sorry, 50-person ceremony. I don't know if this question is 50-person ceremony, these 50 people, then 50 people for dinner, then 50 people for post-dinner after party. We'll just assume it's 150 people and it's split. Let's just assume that. That is a very, very tricky one. That is really tricky to navigate, and I'm going to say that I had a couple that wanted to do something similar to that, and the health inspector sorry, it's not inspector at that point. The health person, I'm blanking, guys. I'm sorry, I'm hungry. The health person at that point, we had talked to them about it, because each kind of venue or region or whatever has a health inspector or health advisor, kind of that we can approach. And they basically said, if the couple wants to do this, they can have 50 people in this part of the ballroom. It's closed off. This part of the ballroom can have another 50 people. Then downstairs in the other ballroom, you can have another 50 people. But the couple has to decide which room they're going to be in, and they have to stay in that room the whole night. Each of the 50-person groups have to stay separate. There are separate servers here, here, here. There's separate bars, separate food service, separate whatever it is. We had like manned suite tables at this particular wedding, so there's separate manned suite tables. So everything had to be separate. And then there would be like a big screen of the couple so that everyone would see it live, but only 50 people would be in the room live with the couple. And the couple can't go and mix and mingle with the other 50 guests, or 100 guests in that case, because you're then taking your contact of all these 50 people and bringing it to that 50 people and that 50 people. So my long answer to this is not an option if you want to go and mix and mingle with those people. I have heard a little bit of mixed information on what they're now allowing and changes to this. This wedding was mid-September. So I'm talking to you on what I know is the most current accurate information. If something has changed, because things change so quickly, maybe you can do a variation of this. I would, however, really think that through and really think about all the guests and what you're exposing them to and what you're doing. And talk to the health advisor, talk to your venue, talk to your wedding planner, because like we're really trying to keep as up to date as we possibly can. So I think that it's a clever idea. I do not, however, feel that it is in line with the current guidelines and regulations we're allowed to have. I said two things I was going to talk about as well. I got to come back to them. Let me think for a second. Feel free to type. I'm going to talk about these two things, and then I'm probably going to wrap it up. I want to talk about booking vendors during this time. And I know a lot of people are feeling a little stressed. They're feeling like, what should I do? Should I even go through with the 2021 wedding? We have one couple that we met with them, and it was a lovely consult. But now they came back to us and they're like, I actually am not sure now. I'm not sure if I'm going to have it in 2022, 2021, or 2022. Totally fair. But if you've already booked your venue, you've booked a handful of vendors, like you've really put down like most of your wedding budget, and now you're like, I don't know, what do I do? Do I just pause? I think it's totally fine to pause. If you're not ready to continue booking the remainder of your vendors, that's okay. You don't have to book them all now. You can wait a little bit. You just need to know that there's a lot of people that have postponed from this year to next. So if you really have a vendor that you're dead set on having, and they're currently available for your date, you have to be willing to either maybe not get them or book them and put that money down. and talk to them about their postponement clauses. Talk to them about what if you change your mind and move it to the next year. How does that look? I will say of the 26 weddings we postponed, they all went really smoothly. They all went really well. For most of our couples, like with our full planning couples, we did all of that navigating for them. We reached out to all of the vendors collectively. We told them the couple is postponing, like they're really sorry they have to do this. Here are the prospective dates. Please let us know as soon as possible which dates work for you, and we will get back to you as soon as we know the collective date that works for most of the vendors. And with one exception, because the photographer was moving out of province, every single vendor on all of these weddings could move the dates. That's just, it's amazing. No penalties, no changes, no nothing like that. It's just simply moving the dates. So you just need to know that like we're all really, really trying, and no one wants to like put you in a corner and get you stuck. I will say I've had my first challenging venue, to be honest, first challenging venue with an international couple. And that's the first one that's been difficult. The first one, which really sucks. Really sucks because this couple is dealing with things in a different country and their regulations are much more intense than us. So that is unfortunate, but that's sometimes it happens. And sometimes you just have to have more conversations, and you have to go back to the drawing board of maybe picking a different date, maybe being open to different dates. Sorry, I got off track, got on a little rant there, but if you're not ready to continue booking vendors, you're kind of freaked out a little bit about your wedding, here's some things that you can do. There are so many great resources out there. There are so many great articles, blog posts, things that you could be reading to prepare, to research. If you've got DIYs you want to do your DIYs. Get started on those things. Work on your thank you speech. Work on your vows. Work on your gifts for your wedding party. There are a lot of things you can do that don't cost a lot of money, but you have to do them in the process of wedding planning anyways. And if you're gonna have your wedding party anyways, work on their gifts. If you're gonna have vows, they have to get done sometime. Pick your songs. Work on your timeline. Some of our couples, we're rearranging the planning with them to work on stuff that is like logistic heavy but not money heavy. Instead of maybe booking some more vendors, we're putting a pin in a few less less of a necessity vendors. I hate to say it, I love them, but like there's a few that you don't necessarily need to have your wedding. It would be like a bonus if you got to have them. So they might not be ones that you're ready to put that money down. You might want to wait it out. That's fine. But if you're gonna have your wedding and you want a certain vendors, certain florist, certain venue, certain planner, certain video photographer, those all book up super fast. There's only so many of us, and caterers. So those are like the six I think, that I would not suggest waiting on. Book them. And those are also the ones that are going to be amazing resource for you, generally speaking. Hi, Mandy. In the mix of all this, in the mix of all the planning, especially a coordinator or planner, because we're literally the ones that navigate things with the vendors. So book those. For sure book those. You can put a pin in the rest. And I will add that if you're not ready to book, don't book consultations. If you're not ready to commit, don't have consultations with vendors, because what's going to happen is if you're not ready to book, you had a consultation, you got a quote, your quote's valid from anywhere from 1 week to 3 weeks, depending on the vendor type. If you come back in 3 months, 1, they could not have a date. 2, they have to requote you and talk to you again. 3, you might have changed a ton of stuff about your wedding. So again, your quote's not valid. So you have to go through the whole process again. And you kind of wasted some time, which isn't great. It's not great for anyone. So just don't do that. Just skip that part. Skip the consults for now. Watch things like this. Watch other lives of other vendors sharing great content with you. Read blog posts. Do some of the smaller checklist items that make you still feel like you're doing stuff, because you are doing stuff. And then also take a break. I'm going to suggest that all of you, thank you, I appreciate that you like the advice. I'm going to suggest that all of you take December off. Let's just take it off. Let's just take it completely off from wedding planning. Don't touch a dang thing in December. December is for celebrating and drinking cider and making cookies and watching fun Christmas TikToks and having family over for a loud and having fun Zooms and dressing up in ugly sweaters, even if it's you and your partner at home. Can we all just decide that December is not a wedding planning month? Take a breather, take a break. Don't change anything, don't touch anything. You have a month and a half from now to then to get some things done, some little things, and then just pause, just like give yourself permission. And like, if you want to use me as an excuse, I don't care if you're a client or a vendor or not a client or whatever, you can just say like, Amanda Douglas Events told me that I need to take December off, and that is professional advice, and I'm going to take it because that's really important, Mom. And I'm just going to take December off because this is her like professional COVID advice. You can use me as a scapegoat. I really frankly don't care, but I really think it's going to be good for you if you just take the month off and give yourself a breath. We don't know what's going on. We don't know what's going to happen. We're waiting for a vaccine. We're waiting for different regulations. We're waiting for some people to put on their masks and make it safe for us. We got to wait it out a little bit longer. So that's my rant on that and some things that you can do right now. There was totally something else I wanted to tell you guys. What was it? Do you remember? What else was I going to say? Oh, yes. I wanted to talk about how to make your wedding special, no matter how many people are there. Because I know that's the biggest thing is that, well, I want to celebrate with all my people. I don't want to reduce my guest list. I don't want to do that. I'm not interested. So 2 parts to that. You might not have a choice if you don't want to postpone. So if you don't want to postpone your wedding, then you might in the end have to reduce your guest count. It might be down from 100 to 50. It might be down from 300 guests to 50. It might be down, from whatever to 100 if it's a tent wedding and the regulations go back to that. You might have to do it. The biggest thing that I've been suggesting all of my couples do right now, even as an exercise, create yourself a 50-person guest list and create yourself a 100-person guest list, okay? Just practice it. One of my brides today, we had a site visit. She said, oh, your email that you sent this out and gave us some advice and some homework, that was a really good exercise. We just did a quick sweep and we got it down to 60 and it really made me feel really good. It made me feel really comfortable. I was like, great, that's exactly what I want you to feel. It's not something that you have to execute right now or stick to right now. It's just to get yourself knowing that you're prepared and you're ready if you had to go that route. And it will give you comfort because sometimes we build things so much up in our head that it's like, I could never. I'm like, do you want to have your wedding? Do you want to postpone? Which one? Okay, you're going to have your wedding. Okay, so now you're going to have your wedding. What do you got to do? Are you going to move it to an outside venue so you can have more people? Okay, so now we're an outside venue. Got it. Awesome. It's like choose your own adventure a little bit. Now you're outside. Okay, let's pretend that we're at 100 guests outside now. That's our regulation that we're at. Great. You need to reduce it by 50 people. Let's go through your list. Who can we not invite? Who can we send a really lovely card to and say, we're so sorry we couldn't have you at our wedding. We so wish you could celebrate with us. We look forward to a barbecue in the future and having you over. Send them a lovely card. They're going to be so happy you thought of them and that you took the time to validate and recognize that you wanted them there. They're really going to love that. So write some cards to these 50 guests you can invite. It's going to be cathartic, is that the right word, for you? And it's going to make them feel really special too. So those are some thoughts there. So now we're back to this. Reduced wedding. Wedding is smaller. Your wedding is 25 people. I already talked about the music. So have a really great acoustic musician there. Have a really great MC. Have one of your friends that's just going to nail it. Maybe have a few more jokes on hand. Maybe have a few games in the mix. Line up your speeches accordingly throughout dinner so that it has a really beautiful flow. Have an extra course. Throw in an extra course. Maybe entrees during cocktail hour, soup, salad, appetizers during cocktail hour, soup, salad, entree, dessert. And make it interesting. Hire a chef that's going to come out for every course and talk you guys through it. Be like, today for the salad, we have da 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 da, field greens, blah, 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 grown at this farm. Chicken's name was Deborah. You know, someone that's going to really make the experience really amazing. You probably were spending a lot more with that larger wedding. I'm not saying you have to spend the same for your small wedding, but make it really special. Really make it special because you're really going to feel that. It's going to feel really lovely for you, and your guests are really going to remember it too. Pair wines. Pair some really nice wines with each course. Something like that is really wonderful. That can work really well. If you're having 25, 50 people, this is a really nice chance as well to do some smaller personalized things. We had a wedding in the end of September, and it was 50 people, tent wedding. And the mom had literally gone on Instagram and printed up little Polaroids of every single guest. And every single guest on the seating chart had a picture that she found on Instagram, and then it said table 5, table da da da. And because there was 50 guests, it was easy enough to look at it and find yourself, right? I more or less know what most of my pictures are, and mine was like a picture of me sitting cute with my wall. And she had found mine, and like it was lovely. And those are the types of things that on small weddings you can be much more personal and intimate, and like things scale better on the smaller wedding. You know, really cute individualized party favors, escort cards, things like that are really lovely. Having some of those bigger, not bigger, grander details, things like that are really, really nice on those intimate weddings too. Have a cute lounge if we can do that safely. Have a manned dessert table with like different offerings, and you can make it look really cute, like it's like a donut bar you're going up to, or not a donut bar, like a bakery window you're going up to, and they're displayed really cute. And you can have like the people with like cute hats on, and they serve them and have little labels as if they're in a bakery. Things like that are really fun. Think about what you love when you host a dinner party or when you go to like a gala or something special, and have that at your wedding. Have tons of candles, beautiful flowers, great linens, and just make it special for what it is. Sometimes even like there has been floral contracts that I'm like, I don't think we should change anything. We should literally just use all this, but like have them grander on the tables we have left, and it's looked so nice. Yeah, so those are my thoughts. I could literally just keep throwing like random thoughts at you, but I'm actually going to write a blog post about this because I think there's just a lot of things that we need to remember. I'm glad that you like it. Thanks for the little heart face. I think we need to remember that you can still make it really, really special. And you need to remember that people will have more grace on you than you think if you have to reduce that guest count. I know it's tricky. So I am going to stall for just a minute longer in case anybody has any questions or wants to type anything else. But I want to leave you with a couple reminders. Don't go for consults if you're not ready to book. If you're ready to book in the next couple weeks, yes, have those consults. But if you're not ready and you're feeling stressed and you don't want to put out money, do not have consults right now. Instead, look at great content that vendors are putting out. Oh, it paused us. Hopefully it came back. Can someone like heart the screen and tell me if I'm still here? Because it paused me for a second there. I don't know. Oh, wait. I think it's still live. I know my Facebook is still live, and on Facebook, you're all probably like, oh yes, are the hearts telling me, yes, I'm still here? Okay, fantastic. I'll keep talking. Okay, 1-1, wonderful. Okay, thank you. I think there was a little delay there. What was I saying? Yes, read really great content, read the great blog posts that are out there, do your research, write your vows, work on those other things. Take December off. Please take December off. Just take it off. Give yourself a breather. Give yourself a minute. Don't stress about it. Celebrate December in whatever form you can right now safely. Okay? I want you to do that. You're going to feel so much better. And frankly, I usually frame all my planning with all my couples around, we're going to take a December break because you're not going to want to think about your wedding anyway. And we're just going to take a December break, and you're going to feel awesome and refreshed in January. So here's a little push, month and a half. You got a little push, and then you're going to take the break. Okay? Just know that your vendors are in it with you. They're struggling with you. They're frustrated with you. They're heartbroken with you. They want you to have your wedding. And so be honest with them. Have candid conversations. Don't leave them in the dark. If you are thinking of postponing, send an email to every single vendor. Don't just do the venue or the videographer or the photographer. All of them. Because if you pick a new date and haven't consulted them and given them the chance to like work with you on a new date, you do forfeit via your contract in most cases. Read your contracts, obviously, read your contracts. But a lot of the time, if you just pick a different date, you're forfeiting your deposit or your initial payments with them. So you need to remember that too. So just have those conversations with your vendors. I know it sucks. I know it's hard. Just be kind and respectful. I think that's really what I want to leave you with. Every vendor that I've talked to has really said that they just want you to know that they're feeling it for you. Because I did survey a few vendors before I did this. I honestly have been delaying this live for a couple months because it's such a hard topic. And I just don't want you guys to feel taken advantage of or that we're not out to help you. It's hard to guide you guys right now. It really is. And it's very difficult to be a wedding planner right now because so often, well, 99% of the time, I can have definitive answers in every area of planning. And if I don't know something, I can research it and find it out and source it. Right now with COVID, I can't give very many definitive answers other than we all want to celebrate with you. We all want to have your celebrations with you. We want to do it safely. And we're here for you, ready to talk when you're ready. So, all right. Good night, everybody. I'm going to go eat some nachos. Have a lovely night. Bye-bye.